Sorry, I'm getting very flustered.
Sorry,
Yeah, man. Let me see. I've prepared the statement that I've got because it's quite vast, the shit that I was going through, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought I'd write the thing out and try and better explain it.
Yeah, no worries, man.
So, yeah. As a pre-statement, the statement documents a decade of systemic persecution, institutional abuse and sexual exploitation that began after I was subject to a fraudulent criminal charge in 2015. It was a charge of culpable homicide, later reduced to a supplying drugs offence, and it was entirely fraudulent. By the time I saw the evidence for that case, I realised that it was entirely fraudulent and beaten, and things kind of ramped up for me, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like the whole city had turned against me, of Inverness in Scotland, given that the entire city seemed to be somewhat involved in the case being a set-up.
Mm-hmm.
It went from the level of the police to the court to the paramedics and all the things in between, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was severely dragged early on, and I ended up pleading guilty to that, although I immediately disputed that plea, and that's where the persecution began in 2021. I don't want to discredit this interview with the claims that are more enormous than that in scope, given that it is already quite enormous what I'm going to be reporting. I'm unsure how to proceed with the next part, and I just wanted to give you context to build up what I'm truly reporting, and it would be nice to have it on the record.
Mm-hmm.
On the 25th of February 2016, or more importantly on my blockchain, on all my devices, it says 25th of March 2016, me and my stepfather, Stephen Smith, we invested his inheritance that he got around that time in a Bitcoin transaction that was stolen. And that's, I just wanted to get that on the record. There's not really any more need to get into that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what followed that it wasn't like random misfortune. It was a coordinated campaign of persecution. It went through the NHS, it went to the banks, the police, the criminal courts. I've been raped multiple times. I've been drugged consistently for 5 years. I've been unlawfully detained by the same hospital that raped and sexually abused me.
What hospital is that?
That was New Craig's Hospital in Inverness. In 2022, I was waking up with semen in my throat. Well, at the time, I was on a lot of drugs against my will. I couldn't really explain how it was happening, but there was a strong aroma of semen in the air, and semen in the air in my nose, and I just presumed it was some kind of aerosol.
Yeah.
And I put in hundreds of complaint forms documenting this, and the hospital entirely failed to even look into them. It was just a complete cover-up.
Yeah.
And
sorry, mate. What year was this?
This was in 2022.
22.
Yeah, 2022, and that culminated in me being given the verdict of an unlawful detention against them, and I was immediately released. But they never ever paid me something called just satisfaction, which gives them a financial incentive. That's what I could work out to the best of my ability, because things really ramped up from there. When I got the unlawful detention from them in a court of law, they were automatically expected to pay me an amount of money that was insignificant, like 10,000 or something from compensation, and they've delayed continuously for 5 years. They refused to even speak about it. So
this all went through a court process?
Yeah, a tribunal within the hospital,
okay.
A tribunal of courts kind of thing. And I was unlawfully detained, so there's a financial incentive, and the sexual abuse was pretty constant while I was there. I do believe that I'm currently being drugged against my will. I'm not prescribed any medications at all, and I'm not sure how I'm being drugged, but I feel like I'm on antipsychotics at all times.
Yeah.
Like there's a stammering in my brain every time I try and do something important.
Yeah.
And my heart races extremely, extremely slowly and heavily, and it's just unexplainable, you know what I mean?
So currently you're on antipsychotic medication?
No, I'm not on antipsychotic medication.
You're not?
No.
So this was back in 2022 as well?
This has been constant since 2022.
Right, cool.
Yeah.
So you're not taking any medication?
No, nothing like that at all. So there shouldn't be any need for it, you know what I mean? Yeah, some of the symptoms I'm getting is tachycardia, which is like a rapid heart rate, and complete inability to think or strategize kind of thing. I'm drowsy and sedated. There's ocular crisis where my eyes are rolling and walking upward, which happens from large doses of antipsychotics as well, and muscle rigidity and tremors and stuff. So
Have you been to hospital for any of that? Get it checked out?
Nah. I went, but last time I was in London, I went to Tower Hamlets Hospital, the Royal Infirmary one.
Yeah.
And I went through all the things I was going through, but they were entirely unhelpful, you know.
Yeah,
They didn't seem to take it on. I tried to get my bloods taken to try and get a test, but they refused as well. They gave me like a bog standard 5-point drug test, and I explained to them that these things are not going to show up on it, do you know what I mean? So yeah, man. I'm also a victim of modern slavery on NRM conclusive grounds. It was a positive determination under the Modern Slavery Act of 2015.
Yeah, can you just elaborate on that bit?
Yeah. When I was in, the whole story's difficult to recount, but in 2014 or 2015, some of the people that I owed money to for a drug debt had extorted me and placed myself and my house under, they turned it into a brothel kind of thing, and that intimidation continued right through until more recently. But when I was back, I got away from these people for a lot of years. But when I was back in Inverness by force, which is a whole thing I'll get into later or throughout this, eventually I was forced to get back into male prostitution against my will, or a male sex act by force, and it was entirely covered up kind of thing. So I've probably missed a lot of in-betweens there, but like I said, I feel like it's difficult to think about everything just now.
And this is the first time you're reporting that?
No, I've reported it and I'm on the NRN conclusive grounds already.
Okay.
So I've already got
that. So all of this pretty much that you've told me so far has been reported so far?
I've reported most of this so far, but I only had 4,000 characters. The part about NRM and stuff has been reported to the Home Office for the NRM scheme. But this other stuff that I'm telling you so far is unreported. So, apart from the 4,000 letters that I gave to yourselves. Because of what I'm going to tell you, the duty cannot be transferred back to the Police of Scotland, NHS of Scotland, or any other Scottish government body, because I'm raising serious sexual offences and serious corruption involving all of them in all the places and institutions that I was within, and also Lambeth Hospital. These are the very institutions that I'm accusing of complicity in my abuse and persecution. So I was looking into the laws and stuff, and it says that under the Police Reform Act 2022, the allegations of sexual offences and corruption by police constitute a mandatory referral to the Independent Office for Police Conduct. And I don't think it's right if it gets pushed back to the same police that are involved in what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean the IOPC is completely separate to the police force, so they understand they work for the police, but they're a separate organisation, so obviously keep it unbiased and make sure complaints get dealt with correctly.
I'm physically in London, under Section 30 of the Police Act 1996, obviously every field jurisdiction and stuff. So I'm invoking my rights under Article 4 of the Convention on Human Rights, prohibition of slavery and forced labour, and Article 3, prohibition of torture and inhumane or degrading treatment if it was to be kicked back to Scotland, do you know what I mean? Because I really don't want them dealing with it when they were involved. So
you want to go back to Scotland?
Absolutely not. I do not want to go back to Scotland, bro.
So you moved here to get away from Scotland?
On the NRM, because I was fleeing sexual exploitation, you know what I mean? I'm experiencing daily antipsychotic symptoms when I'm not on them, including ocular crisis, which is the eyes forcibly rolling upwards and downwards, a complete inability to think clearly and make rational decisions and stuff. I get the rapid heart rate as well. Just want to let that known. I reported this to Brixton Police Station on the 17th of July, and they told me to contact you guys online, which is what I've done.
The slavery bit?
No, the slavery bit has already been reported. This is the sexual abuse that I faced, kind of thing.
But the slavery bit is linked to the sexual abuse because they was using you for male prostitution.
Well, what had actually happened was there was only one incident of that linked to the exploitation, and that was when a staff member at the hospital abused me at night time. Right. There was multiple events, but that was the only one that I put her up.
Let me just triple check, mate.
Yeah, man. Cool. I don't suppose you guys have an email that I can forward the statement to you, so I can just give you a read of it later on.
Right. So
do you have a way I can email you the statement that I've written so you can read it in full? At a later date, kind of thing, or later today after this?
Yeah, just one sec.
Thanks, man.
So I've got that it was reported here you've been raped in New Craig's Hospital.
Yep.
In sexual assault in HMP Barlin.
Yeah.
Forced to perform sex act by Alex McKay.
Yeah, that's the staff member I was on about.
Yeah, for prostitution ring.
Yeah, that's it.
Raped in a hotel in Waterloo.
Yeah, and then Lambeth as well after that.
Yeah, got that as well, and that you've been drugged at your address daily. That's been reported as well.
Yeah. Or at least that's what it seems like is happening. I'm having all the symptoms of when I was on antipsychotics because they were very extreme.
So, out of everything that's been reported, what hasn't been reported?
The stuff that I've mentioned to you at the start, do you want me to scan through it? Like, cause I'm talking about the persecution as well, but will we stick to the sexual abuse stuff?
Just whatever hasn't been reported.
Yeah.
So I can chuck a report in. Because obviously the reports that have been put on already, because we're response workers, we come, take the initial account, get statements, and then we pass it on to detectives. Obviously the stuff that has been reported already, I'm not able to provide any updates on that because I'm not sure, and if that's been reported already, let's just make sure that we get everything reported so everything can be investigated.
Okay.
So in terms of what hasn't been reported, what hasn't been reported?
Yeah, well, the financial persecution and banking fraud that I faced wasn't really reported. So.
And was that with the courts?
That was after my court case, after I had figured out the case evidence and disputed it, and the entire city seemed to turn against me, or all the services, so to speak, and that progressed to even Barclays Bank and the Royal Bank of Scotland and the Bank of Scotland just outright committing fraud in my accounts, giving me fake counterfeit money, etc. And I documented all of it on my social medias and my Snapchats, but lots of them have been deleted when I've been detained and things against my will.
So in terms of this, you were getting counterfeit money from Lloyds Bank and Barclays?
No, from Barclays, Bank of Scotland and the Royal Bank of Scotland.
You were getting counterfeit money?
It appeared to me that they were counterfeit notes. They were extremely low quality. I even got like one of those prop notes once, the ones that have the corner bit, and it was baffling, man.
And you got that when you were making withdrawals at the bank?
Yeah.
So was it at a counter desk or was it at an ATM?
It was in the branch, in the counter desk,
cool.
and like I'll go through the thing, but like I was in there every single day trying to figure out what was going on with the account, because at first the card that I've had for most of my life with Barclays was working flawlessly, obviously as a bank card, until it went missing. Then I had to order a new bank card, and that's where the problems began, because the new bank card that would arrive with the PIN number, the PIN number would not work on the first one, so I ordered another one, and eventually it ate the card kind of thing. So I ordered the second bank card from Barclays, and I purposely recorded myself opening the PIN number and the card at the ATM, that didn't work either, and that happened with the Bank of Scotland as well. And when I was going in to speak to the people at the Barclays branch in Inverness, there was lots of strange things that was happening. Like eventually, when I did get a card, they told me I could change my address to the branch address to see if I can get a card that way. And that worked. So I got the card, went to their statement machine, printed out my statements, and got statements that didn't add up. There was incorrect numbers that were on them. Some of them were black and white. And eventually a staff member came over and knocked them on the floor. And by the time I had picked them back up again, by whatever means, the bank statements appeared back correctly. And I've not really got an explanation for how that had happened beyond some kind of sleight of hand. In other situations, Barclays Bank pulled somewhat of a fire alarm when I was in there because I was live streaming kind of thing, and there wasn't anything that they could really do because it was clear foul play. Like I couldn't say there were fraud in the account because I don't have evidence of that, but obstruction kind of thing, you know what I mean, or interference. So the fire alarm went off, or the bank alarm went off, and I just kind of made a Snapchat. The alarm went off. The staff didn't acknowledge it. They didn't explain. I don't want to get into fantasy land here, but it seemed to me like the idea was, and this is going to sound bizarre, but given what I was going through with all the services, it seemed like they wanted me to somehow leave the bank after the alarm had gone off and make it appear as though I had somehow robbed it or something, because it was so abnormal that the alarm had went off, and they don't get bank alarms. So eventually Barclays had said to me, you're going to need to switch your account. I said I don't want to, and then I said right, okay. I said I need to switch my account then, and I switched the account from Barclays to the Bank of Scotland on about the 11th of December. They took me upstairs to a manager's room, opened the account, that was all fine, but again the card never ever arrived, and I had to withdraw from the actual branch. That was when they started to give me different kind of notes all the time, and like I said, one of the notes seemed to be some form of prop note. It seemed to have some kind of obscurities about it. It wasn't like these modern ones, but the Scottish ones that they were giving me were entirely bad as well. Eventually they said to me, take your card in here and open it up and put it in the internal ATM. And that's precisely what I'd done, and it was the same as before. I ripped the PIN number off, put the card in the machine, and it ate the card up immediately. So the manager went into behind the ATM machine and came back out with 2 cards and said, you can have one of these. So I picked one of the cards, and that didn't work either. So by the time the 24th of December had arrived, he had said to me at the checkout, you can have £100 today with your ID, or you can cancel your account and get all of it. And I mean, it was Christmas break. I had to wait 4 or 5 days, and then New Year I couldn't survive on £100. I had to buy electric and gas and things and food. So I had to close the account with the Bank of Scotland, and I withdrew the £750, and I've not had I don't believe I've actually had a bank account in the UK ever since, other than Revolut. And I tried every branch in Inverness High Street and in Aberdeen, and even in Edinburgh, and every time I try to make an application, it tells me that I've been rejected, so I'm not even entitled to getting a UK bank account, so you can imagine how that was. Just some little things. I have all this information and videos on my Snapchat. I have a few currently that remain, but there's been lots of deletions over the years, but I'm sure they're easily recoverable, which is vital that we retain the evidence, you know what I mean, because there's lots of it. So that was leading up to the weekend of the 22nd of January.
This year,
this banking stuff was happening, running up until the court case in December of 2021 for the culpable homicide or the Misuse of Drugs Act, and that continued onwards until around sometime in early 2022. So during the weekend of the 22nd of January in 2022, right after I'd acquired the no jail time for the big case that the city had somehow set up upon me, and I had disputed the plea while settling my affairs. They gave me more time to arrange my affairs. It became clear that the agenda was to then ban me from another service, which was all chemists, and I was actually a recovering drug addict at the time. So it appeared clear that there was an agenda to somehow ban me from all chemists, doctors' practices, etc., which was another level of people that got involved. And again, it's due to financial incentive because the case was entirely dirty, and if I had a lawyer, it'd be easy to get vindication from it.
Yeah.
I documented all the interactions during the period. In every recording, I was entirely calm, but I was immensely drugged. So from the periods of August 2021, like on my Snapchat evidence alone, I was severely drugged on some form of stimulant or something.
Do you have a video of that?
Yeah.
Can I see the video?
Yeah, of which point you want to see the video of?
When you were drugged.
Yeah, there's lots of videos when I was on lots of drugs. It's very hard to see without watching all of them, kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm guessing from what you told me, you're completely clean now, no drugs, yeah?
Yeah, I've been clean and sober for almost half a decade, and I've been off illicit drugs for about a decade.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, where are we? This is March 2022. February, January. Like just a random video?
Yeah, just any video.
Yeah, just to get you can see the different sense in the character. I'm speaking very fast and stuff.
What the fuck is going on with people?
You see very...
They got stabbed by junkies.
Yeah, I was distraught with the stuff that was going on, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, excuse the language. So...
And this you being drugged has been reported already, yeah?
Yeah, I reported it to the hospitals and stuff, but they didn't ever do anything about it. So,
yeah.
Like I said, I've tried every avenue other than reporting it.
Yeah.
I know it's a long time after the fact, but it's been continued.
Yeah, no, it's not big, yeah.
Yeah, man.
So in terms of things that weren't reported, the only thing was the counterfeit money and the bank problems.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, 2 seconds, man. So yeah, what was that you were saying? Sorry?
So in terms of the only thing that wasn't reported, so all the other things were reported.
Yeah, you said something about the counterfeit money?
Yeah, so that's the only thing that wasn't reported, the counterfeit money and the issues at the bank.
Yeah, well, I complained to Barclays Bank in writing by mail.
But in terms of like reporting it or taking it through court or police,
there was I never ever
like just through the banks.
Yeah, I never ever had access to a lawyer, and believe me, I've tried on legal aid. I've phoned all of them numerous times. They just won't help. There was no legal option. Like I said, I complained manually. I complained to the managers. I even went to Police Scotland, and they gave me an interview to report the fraud that was going on my account. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what else? I submitted a legal document to the Bank of Scotland when I knew I was on my own. Had the manager sign it, and I signed it. Again, this was on a live stream or Snapchat. It was one of the two. There's lots of evidences, and that was also deleted through time as well, against my will, because that's obviously something that was severely reported on. You know what I mean? Yeah, so that's pretty much that's like January 2022. That weekend was a bad one. That's when the police made an attempt on my life in a police cell and assaulted me. So.
Oh, prison guards, yeah.
No.
Or in custody.
Custody, yeah.
Custody, yeah.
So, during the weekend of the 22nd of January 2022, right after I'd acquired a no jail time for the big case, they had the big case that they had. I disputed the plea while settling my affairs, and it became clear they were going to ban me from all the chemists. They made repeated attempts to do so. I documented all interactions during the period, and in every recording I was entirely calm but immensely drugged. yet staff and security responded with escalating hostility every time. The pattern was deliberate. It was to provoke a reaction from me, to discredit me, and deny me access to my essential medications, or have me travel like 4 hours to get it. Essentially, it was to throw me off methadone, diazepam, and all the things that were somewhat helping me. So I contacted emergency services around this time to report these things. All of the calls were uploaded to my Google Drive. The call handlers were entirely complicit and also abusive. They refused to intervene, they dismissed my concerns, and appeared to be working in coordination with the courts and the chemists to facilitate the ban of me from their practices. So again, on the 22nd of January 2022, I was violently assaulted by a person with a syringe. I'm not sure who it was, and it was dark, and I wouldn't want to say anyway.
Was it in a hospital or not?
Nah, this was just in the streets.
Yeah.
I was stabbed in my head and my neck and the back of my head at a minimum. It was sporadic, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Was that reported to anyone?
Yeah, I reported it to the hospital, and I went to A&E. They didn't help me at all either. And I think I spoke to the police at the hospital about it briefly, but they seemed unconcerned. They were aware of what the allegation was in the hospital, and they offered no medical treatment.
And this was in
Inverness. Yeah, this 2022 was Inverness for the most part, or half of it. So I reported this, but I was heavily dragged. The Snapchat recordings documenting this have been heavily altered, and again, I don't like my appearance in them, but the scenario is true. And the process kind of proves that. The Snapchats now appear in an incorrect sequence as well, and that appears even on the Snapchat servers. So for all the videos up until 2023, if you go on the backup from Snapchat and click on it, they appear in an altered sequence. So they go up in 10 seconds, right?
Yeah.
So it goes like sequence 2, sequence 4, sequence 1, sequence 3. So you can't actually get a good account of what the videos are actually describing. And I would have to argue that would mean some kind of manipulation on the Snapchat servers. I know that seems bizarre, but it's the only explanation for a video being altered in such a manner, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Just going to take a couple of minutes down, carry on.
Yeah, cool, man. I contacted Police Scotland. They failed to attend my reporting of the wounds. Yeah, there you go. I did contact Police Scotland. I thought it was at the hospital that I spoke to them. I became more and more drugged throughout the night. In desperation, I stated that there was a person with my knife inside my house, but to try and force a response from them, given that they wouldn't come anyway. I just wanted to speak to them and essentially document my reporting of it correctly. But nobody ever came out to see the actual wounds in person. Later that day, in the same day, the 22nd of January, I attended the hospital. Again, I was clearly dragged further the more that I waited in the waiting room. Hospital staff claimed that there was nothing they could do regarding being stabbed with a syringe and my being assaulted. In the Snapchats that currently remain, they suggest the claim of being stabbed in the eye was dismissed as unbelievable, but nobody calmed me down or asked me for more details. I do not remember actually saying that I was stabbed in the eye either, but I also did state and show head wounds from the assault, and I was immediately dismissed as psychotic. They never ever offered me a psychiatric evaluation. I mean, if someone's coming in with wounds, etc., and says something has happened, you're either taken seriously, given there could be like syringes still inside of you, either that, or they would have, offered a psychiatric emergency evaluation. I would have been sectioned, you know what I mean? And it just didn't add up to me. The police arrived to remove me from the building. They claimed that it was a mental health issue, but did not offer any mental health assessment either, which was also strange. The videos documenting this have been somewhat altered on Snapchat servers, but because of the sequence that they're appearing in on the Snapchat server, it's impossible for me to analyse them again. It's been a very long time, it's been emotional, you know what I mean, it was stressful. So I walked away, I was sobbing immensely, I waited for the bus. This has been ongoing since 2022 and continues to this day. Later on that day I went to, which is again another pharmacy trying to remove me from the premises and stop me from getting my vital medications. So after the hospital I visited Boots in Inverness to claim some vitamins for the wounds because I presumed that it could have anything in it. My understanding of it as a former drug addict was when people generally do things with a syringe, it usually contains more than just nothing, you know what I mean? It's usually a target attack, could contain any infectious diseases, and as the hospital refused to assess me or do any of those things, I thought I'd get some vitamins. And what happened was I was Snapchatting, just doing entertaining snaps about the fact that they were overpriced and they didn't contain a list of the actual ingredients. But staff immediately says, calm down. I said, I'm not sure what you mean, I am calm. I'm here to get my vitamins on minor ailments. The security guard lunged for my phone. This was all on Snapchats that currently remain, and forcibly removed me from the building. At which point he says, you're banned from the entire shopping centre, which is the only shopping centre in Inverness. And I kind of started to sob again. I said, you can't really do this to me. This is the last chemist I can go to. So yeah, just a little update on how the day went. Again, and this is jumping forward a little bit, but in June or July in 2022, I managed to get back into a chemist that they previously had banned me from, and continue my medications. And yeah, I've said that to reiterate the banning. Yeah, so what happened was I went in to get my diazepam and my methadone, and I was live streaming, but the staff member didn't seem to be aware of it, and I bought, you know, easy test kits for drugs and things. I bought the test kit for the drugs because they were counterfeit medications. I'm a lifelong user of diazepam, and I know when something's a little bit awry. Again, in that period in time on the Facebook live stream, my demeanour has calmed immensely. The druggings seemed to become normalised within me, or I was handling them a little bit better. So yeah, I'm glad that's the case because it's more believable, you know what I mean? But when I asked her if I could use the diazepam on a testing kit, just a scrape to put in a testing kit, she says, turn off the camera, I won't give you your medications. So I said, okay. I was a little bit more drawn out than that. I turned off the live stream and she turned around and walked away. So I turned the live stream on again and she says, I'm not giving you medications if you do not turn the live stream off and come through to the back room, you know, where they keep the bloody medications. I says, I'm not willing to do that. So she says, I'm phoning the police and I should get out. So I said, you can phone them if you want to, I'm just going to sit and wait because I believe you're committing a crime. And I waited and waited and waited. It must have been 5-6 minutes. And I said, right, okay, I tell you what, I'll just leave. So I walked out of the boot store. This was about 1 p.m. during the day, or 2 p.m. during the day. And when I walked out, she immediately pulled all the shutters down and locked the door, which seemed also bizarre. It seemed like an extreme thing.
In terms of this whole pharmacy bit, I think I've got enough to put a report on. So after the pharmacies, what else have we got apart from that? Okay.
Yeah, this is the same series of events. It's just the one weekend. But yeah, so on the 22nd of January 2022, I was Snapchatting about the police corruption and things, and when my door started to bang immediately. This was after the syringe reporting and things.
Was that reported as well?
On 999s and 101s. Or 101s. So I acknowledged them out the window, they acknowledged me and they drove away. I believe that was quite late at night as well. I just thought that was relevant to what comes after this, which was I was sexually assaulted on the 23rd.
And that was reported as well?
At the next point in the night, I did not recall phoning for an ambulance, but Snapchat shows that I recorded the call and I did. The videos are unwatchable given the same sequence of order. The 3-minute conversation across separate videos appears in the wrong order. I recall that my eyes were bruised in the Snapchats from the syringe assault. They're both inflamed and bruised. So police attended my address with 2 paramedics and 2 police officers. But when I started to video them, I videoed opened the door. When I started to video them, they refused to speak at all and turned around and walked away, which again is further proof that something is not adding up. They didn't tell me to stop recording or anything, not that I recall. And it was very, very bizarre. They turned around and all 4 of them just walked away. If they believed that I was psychotic, as with the NHS people being there, and they didn't ever offer me a psychiatric evaluation. They'd done none of those things, and they just walked away. They didn't assess the wounds at all. Again, this is all on my social medias and stuff. Yeah, so the morning after that, which was the 23rd of January, I woke up feeling visibly groggy. I had been dragged with what I believed to be rhino tranquilizer, or MXC. It's a tranquilizer, and it doesn't show up on standard drug tests. I realised that I'd been raped orally and anally. I started to calm myself down and I called 999. The Snapchat from that date seems to have been slightly altered, although I remember taking the officers' badges into the video, but it no longer appears within the Snapchat. Whether it was a portion of it erased or not, I really don't know. The words that I used when I was speaking to them was potentially sexually assaulted, but appeared to have been added to the audio because I was absolutely certain I had.
Speaking to the police?
Yeah, in my residence. The police attended me at 8:30 a.m. at my address.
Yeah.
They did not offer to run blood tests. They did not offer to examine me for a DNA test, like swabs for the assault. It was a recurring theme to that very day. I told them that there was semen on the duvet that wasn't my own. They failed to take any of that into account and didn't take it away. From recollection, I woke up in a drugged haze. I remember I woke up on my couch and entirely unconscious, but aware, and very, very hazy. And there was a 5'9" person in size wearing a skull mask, and I had a butterfly clip in my vein. And I just remember blacking out, and that was all I remembered from that, which is very strange again. But,
obviously, in terms of all your stories, obviously I know it's hard to come out with all of this, and I understand how challenging it may be for you. But in terms of stuff that police hasn't attended to, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, well, I understand that, but I haven't reported this to you, which is what I'm trying to tell you. The police were obviously complicit in covering up my sexual assault. That's the entire report.
But I've got a sexual assault that was put on for you.
Yeah, but I've been sexually assaulted multiple times.
Okay, no worries, mate.
Yeah. And if you want me just to email you the statement, you can just read through it. You know what I mean?
No, it's alright.
Yeah, cool. Okay. So the police were lingering around the address again at 5 p.m. that night. I'll tell you why it's relevant in a minute. They were lingering around my property at around 5 p.m, although according to my recollection it seemed to be more like 10 p.m. But all the evidence points to it being 5 p.m, so there's not a lot I can really say or do about that. But I walked out to speak to them because I had noticed them first, and they were being entirely unhelpful. They didn't state what their business was. If they were not involved in a rape report and didn't know anything about it, like they said within the Snapchat evidence, then why were they there at all? Again, whatever the agenda was, I managed to video them and they backed away immediately. And then in a later Snapchat, while I called 101 for an update for the sexual assault, the operator claimed that the officers had attended at 5:13 p.m. and that the incident was going to be closed. And that just isn't the case, with the Snapchat proves that didn't happen. Which means they were complicit in covering that up as well. On the night of the 23rd to the 24th of January, I received a strange text message from what I believed to be a police officer. I also saw them outside my house. There was a Tesco SIM card that I had at the time, and I documented all my numbers in a paste bin around that time, which is on my social medias. At 8:30, I Snapchatted and live streamed one police car and two police vans outside my house with extremely loud knocks on the door. I engaged with them and said I had to find my keys. At which point, when I did open the door to them and they arrested me under what I would believe to be illegal grounds, they seized my phone and removed it from a pouch, all on a live stream. And when I was arrested and taken to the police station, they seized the device and began to deleted evidence from the drive while I was there. This is me paraphrasing, but I'll send it all over to you. So the assault, while I was detained under that arrest on the 23rd, or the 24th, sorry, I was booked in the Burnham Road police station at precisely 9:27 a.m. They demanded to take a new photograph of me. They continuously showed that I was not within the screen for the photograph and I had to move myself to be in it. I think that's relevant. It seems inept. But so when I subject access requested some of my records from the police of Scotland, some of the photographs are quite clearly not of me, and this came from their official system and database. They're very, very similar, but they're apparently not me in at least two of them. I've got photographs of them if you want to see.
No, that's alright.
Right, okay. They threw me on the floor after they put me in the cell with the cuffs still behind my back. They demanded that I strip down for a search, but I refused. They threw me on the floor, punched me around my head, my body, and held my hands behind my back with the cuffs. I felt an immense arterial pain. It was right about here, with my hands behind my back. I recognised it as being some kind of artery pain from former drug misuse and injecting an artery by mistake and feeling immense burning pain. That's how I kind of associated with that. That lasted for a whole 3 to 5 minutes after they beat me and punched me after death or whatever across the head and the body. When they uncuffed me and left the cell, all 4 of them, my arm was swollen. It was about 8 times the size from about here to here, 6 to 8 times the size. There was a incision on the arm, a straight incision here. It looked like a scar. I don't know how that would be possible either, but it looked like a very straight scar there. They came back moments later, and it's hard to talk about now. I'm not sure how I thought these interviews would go, but they came back moments after that, and they brutally beat me with one of their sticks. They had a stick thing.
Ban,
yeah, and when I was, I don't know if it was an official police ban or not, but when I was on the floor and my trousers came down and it appeared that I had been abused sexually by a stick or an object, and I felt immense pressure when I was being held down on the back of my head, and they left the cell. When I looked at my arm, it was vastly swollen again. I looked at the roof and I saw a ventilation grate, which was a little bit unusual for me. I'd never been in a cell like that before. I started to laugh hysterically, and I couldn't really believe what was happening and what was going on, but I began to laugh more and more until I just woke up on the floor, so I was rendered unconscious as well. My arm had gone down to about 3 times the size, and the incision was then a zigzag pattern. I presumed it was some kind of incision. I'm not sure what it could have been, you know what I mean? I pushed the emergency buzzer. I demanded to see the doctor and explained what had happened. The police refused to give me my medications, my methadone, diazepam and antipsychotics. They offered 2 dihydrocodeines and nothing else, which was also illegal because they're not allowed to refuse those medications and inconsistent with the correct dosages. So that was a sexual assault, which is why I've read the weekend's events. After the assault in Burnett Road Police Station, I developed severe neurological injuries. My left eye was forcibly wandering all the way outwards to the right, while my left eye was straight, which can't really happen unless you have a brain injury or some kind of severe injury, because you can't do all that with your eyes. I managed to take a video when I got home of the wounds. There was pooling of the blood or severe bruising of the tendon and the artery all around this area, and the scar was there, and my arm was quite visibly lumped. Do you know what I mean? The reason it's relevant that I took the videos of the wounds is because the nurse, when I was in there, reported that she saw no injuries, which is also complicit in some form of cover-up, so they didn't have to retain the footage of the event that happened with the sexual assault and stuff. That's that, so I'm not reporting none of that. So I took videos of that. During the court appearance for that, this now involves the court again. I represented myself, but before that, before the court appearance, there was never any interview at the police station to discuss the crime, alleged crime or whatever. There was no interview, no questioning, nothing. It was just a brutal assault to try and seize the devices, what I put it down to. At which point evidence was deleted from the drive of the bank and stuff. So again, there's a lot more to the story. It's easier to prove with the social medias. The court case was entirely fraudulent. When I was representing myself, they didn't actually offer any form of evidence when I went to view it. What they had was a policeman filming somebody else's phone in the street. He was just showing them a video of the Snapchat, and that's all that they really had. They didn't have an IP address, they had no ISP address, service provider, telephone number, email, and they certainly didn't contact Snapchat to confirm it was authentic. So it would imply that the entire scheme or event was somehow a concoction, you know what I mean? And that's just Occam's razor. But so yeah, after I left the courtroom and got bail, I re-entered Burnett Road Police Station, which is 2 minutes walk away from there, to subject access requests to CCTV footage. I'd done that by hand, but it never amounted to anything. And because of this, again, it proves that there was complicity in covering up a sexual assault and assault that happened there. Yeah, it's quite long. I'll email you, but yeah, all these things are contained on my Google Photos and social media.
Yeah.
So then, after 2022, that weekend of January, there was a London offence. I came to London to flee all the druggings and persecutions and stuff. In August of 2022, I got a temporary accommodation at the Waterloo Hub, back when I was ran by St Mungo's. What followed was like more patterns of abuse and
yeah, I've got that. On
yeah,
our
so
systems.
just leave this one, yeah.
Yeah, so this one's still under investigation, I believe.
Okay, man. Okay. Then we've got the Lambeth Hospital, which has been talked about already.
Yeah, that's already
Yeah.
got that as well. It's still under investigation, I believe.
Yeah. Then Lambeth Hospital offences as well. Sorry, bro. He just says that. Then New Craigs Hospital, we've done that as well.
Yeah, that's as well. That's all under investigation.
Yeah, it's very long as well, man. So, right. Yeah, so I just wanted to reiterate further evidence of it, that there's a financial incentive for them to have persecuted me, just to give details on why this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't because of the court case and the evidence, which is clearly fraudulent, and then there's a financial incentive there. And then certainly after my unlawful detention verdict, that's when the hospitals became severely involved and it became somewhat of a target, or whatever you'd call that, you know what I mean? So yeah, there's a financial incentive, and they've covered up, so the amount would become more and more. In 2025 to 2026, the same hospital, different crime, and there's systemic safeguarding failures, and they forced me to return to the place where I was abused. I was fleeing my sexual exploiters in Scotland, and they outright lied in their emails. I've subject access requested them, and they forced me to return illegally to the same hospital where I was abused and I had a case pending against. So yeah, that was regardless of my NRM status. Again, it's all within the statement that I'll email it to you, because that's quite long as well. Yeah, so the Police Scotland's complicity in the cover-up. In 2023, when I was in New Craigs Hospital, I reported a sexual assault again.
Yeah.
There was evidence, there was blood on the floor and in the toilet. And they obscured the 101 recordings from me. I've subject access requested the audio from the 101 call, which would prove that the staff were outright refusing to speak to them and somewhat panicked, rather than me being panicked, do you understand?
Yeah.
And they're refusing to even release that to me. I'd applied in 23, 24, 25 by subject access request, and they haven't responded at all, or they obstructed that. Within their subject access requests throughout 2016 until present, criminality in their official documents that they have disclosed, with things like the dates being incorrect. Like there's, for some of the charges that I've got, I've only got 6, but the dates are literally incorrect, or non-existent on one of them. But yeah, and they failed to investigate it at all. They didn't investigate numerous sexual assaults on things. So yeah, from the Barlini incident, again we've reported that, but again it's much more in depth. It involves the Reliance van, the prisoner transport from Gatwick Airport or Sussex Police Station to Scotland. They illegally transferred me when I was destined for Inverness Court. They illegally put me to Govan in Glasgow at 1 p.m. There's no logical reason that they would have done that unless they were purposely trying to put me in Barlini prison. And that's essentially what it is. Then I've got, when I was in Barlini prison, all the CCTV footage and emergency logs were deleted illegally as well, by subject access request. I did have a European Court of Human Rights case, but unfortunately it was inadmissible. I tried to get every lawyer I could, nobody would take it. They wouldn't even view the case, so there's no reason not to. And that's that. So yeah, I've got an evidence crisis as well. My Google Drive is scheduled for deletion in December 2026. Now, the Google Drive has the vast majority of my evidence within it, from emails, photos, and the Google Drive. The reason for that is I caught a Google ban from my Facebook to Google Drive transfer direct. There was no uploading, no downloading. But as a direct transfer, the drive was banned. I had 2 appeals for the account, and I still have, I had 2 appeals. Google has stated that the evidence is retained until 2026, December. So it's vital that we try and retain that information, because throughout Lambeth, throughout all of the events, it contains all the evidence.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So if we could issue a data preservation order or something, it would prove, it would prove everything, man. And I've got a list of my accounts, but if I'm emailing you, you
can just read it through there.
So that's that one. Other things, like this is every single day from 2021, is device interference, evidence suppression, and my internet being throttled. There's posts about this on my social media with speeds that are just impossible, like 0.001 consistently. So I couldn't upload the evidence, you know what I mean? Which is strange too. I do have reasonable grounds to preserve the Google Drive. I've got like 5 unique screenshots from my social media which still remain. Like in Lambeth Hospital, for example, there's a direct link to the shared drive stating I was sexually abused. Here's the audio recording. And the entire drive is evidence in relation to the Google Drive. And it's not 1 or 2 files, the entire drive is constant evidence of abuse. So my current situation is I'm here, I'm doing a lot better, and I just wanted to record this and try and prevent it from happening again in the future. I'm facing imminent homelessness if the exploiters or the authorities were to interfere with the accommodation, etc. So I'm trying to stay low key, and the formal requests are just the obvious ones. I'll email it to you, and that's pretty much it.
Cool.
Again, that's just a rough account. I was struggling to think about it.
No worries, mate. It's a very detailed account. I know we've got your name already, but just double checking. You can just spell your first name for me.
Yeah, man, it's Steven.
Yep, and last name?
John.
Yep.
Stone. I almost forgot how to spell it there.
Johnston, yeah?
Yeah, Johnston.
Cool.
Thanks.
Sorry, John or M?
N for, Stone.
Yeah. And date of birth?
The 18th of February, 1993. You don't mind if I wait, do you?
No, good, mate.
Cool.
And the contact number for yourself?
It's the one that I called from. I have it here.
Oh, I've got that on there.
4401.
Yeah, I've got that on there already. Alright, so essentially I'll make a report. I'll also send you a link so you can upload some stuff on there as well.
Yeah.
And then, someone will be in touch with you regarding your pending investigations as well.
Yeah.
Moving forward, you can always call 101 to try and get any updates if you can.
Okay. Can I get your email to send you the statement?
I'm going to send you a link after, because we don't usually give out emails, we send a link. And then, obviously, if you have anything further to report, feel free to call. It's life or death, then 999.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate you coming out with all this stuff. It must have been hard for you, mate.
You've no idea, bro. It's been mental for 5 years. I'm so glad to be away from the dragons and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So like you said, it's hopefully getting a bit better slowly. So
definitely, bro.
Let's just hope that it stays that way, mate.
Yeah,
anyway,
definitely.
Thank you so much, mate.
No, thank you guys. Sorry to put the burden on you.
No burden, mate. No burden. Someone will be in contact with you about all your other things.
The walk is it?
Yeah, cool, bro. Cheers, mate. Thank you so much.
I'll see you in a bit.